What if I told you the secret to perfect picking technique has been hiding in plain sight all of this time? It's been right in front of your eyes, you've been doing it every single day whenever you picked up a guitar so far. You're just not focusing enough on it in your practice routines. And building very simple, easy and fun exercises around this topic is the key you've been missing to easily play fun stuff like this. I know it might almost sound too good to be true, but if you give me a couple minutes today, I will show you the key exercise concept that changed everything for me, and I'm sure it will do the same thing for you. First, we need to take a look at this. This is your regular alternate picking exercise that you might have in your practice routine right now to work on your picking technique. But when you're looking at this today, I want you to think of the analogy that every chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If you want to play this perfectly at any tempo you want, you will have to start asking yourself, what's the weakest link right here? And are you really focusing on improving it in your practice routine? To get right to the point, the obvious weakest link right here would have to be the upstrokes. Because if you're into rock and metal, I'm sure you worked on your downstrokes exclusively, because a lot of riffs require that. So a fast consecutive downstroke motion, only downstrokes, no alternate picking, simply because they can sound more aggressive than going down, up, down. But be honest right now, have you ever worked on your upstrokes exclusively in your practice routine? If you're like 99% of self-taught players, the answer will be no, because you might feel like, well, I don't really need that in a practical context, playing riffs or licks only with upstrokes. But to bring back the alternate picking example from a bit before, every single fast alternate picking lick is a combination of downstrokes and upstrokes. And it doesn't matter how fast, tight and fluid your down picking movement gets through practicing riffs. If your upstroke movement is lacking, you will not be able to speed up your alternate picking, because it's downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. And if you don't focus on developing both of these movements equally in your practice routine, naturally that's exactly what might hold you back right now with your fast alternate picking. So when I decided to start working on this more a couple of weeks ago, this is the easy exercise I started out with. So this might look quite simple. I'm just playing these very common major seventh arpeggio shapes that are quite symmetrical. But as you could see, I was only working with upstrokes. And the reason why this exercise is incredibly powerful is because I already have to skip between different strings. So I'm playing an upstroke on the D string, then on the B string, then on the G string, and then on the high E string. And when you do this for the first time with only upstrokes, if you never did that before, it will probably sound like this. And you will feel it in your wrist immediately because you're not used to isolating this movement at all. So when you start out with this, try to get this exercise to 120 beats per minute with eighth notes. It doesn't have to be super fast. But if you can play it around this tempo with upstrokes only and with perfect timing, you're on a great way to get your alternate picking to sound like this. Now this beginner exercise is only the first step on a 5-step process that will make it possible to match the attack and control of your upstrokes to your downstrokes to get the combination of both, so alternate picking to a completely new level. Spoiler alert, you might have guessed this already if you're a member of my awesome Patreon community. You now have access to a completely new practice package. It's the Upstroke Mastery Package. This one takes you step by step through that 5-step process with slow and fast play-along videos so that you can practice together with me in your routine. You will get an actual practice routine that you can follow, consisting of full workouts, backing tracks with and without my guitar, the guitar profiles, and of course also detailed PDF tab sheets. And in case you didn't know, members of my Guitar Academy on Patreon also have access to all of my premium guitar technique courses, music theory courses, and even home recording courses. So I will take you through all the steps in this YouTube video, but if you're serious about this and you want an actual practice plan and all of the really cool files I made especially for you, click the link down below and join on Patreon today. Now here's step number 2. This is how I further developed my upstrokes. So for step 2, I wanted to move from this quite small exercise with the major 7th arpeggios into coming up with full workout etudes based around arpeggio shapes, but only played with upstrokes. So I started to take shapes like this one, for example. So this is a really cool minor shape where I'm playing the root note, minor third, perfect fifth, and then the 9th on top. And by working with these shapes, I was going for one shape each measure. I started out with A minor and then, for example, moved to G major. And doing that with only upstrokes is really tricky at first. And to get to 4 measures, I moved down to F sharp, for example. And then I would also often include classic sections like this, where you just play the lowest open string instead of like this, with upstrokes, of course. So that's immediately a more practical way of working on this. Then for the 3rd step, I wanted to make sure to increase the gap in between the notes and strings. So I would visualize a scale like the A minor scale, for example. Just in that position around the 5th fret. And I would come up with really cool string skipping workouts like this. And I would only play them with upstrokes. And it will be really hard to hit the right strings when you do that for the first time. And once again, you will really feel it in your wrist as a great workout. So after 2 measures of playing a phrase like this, I would move the pattern down 1 fret and then match the corresponding notes with my other fingers on the lower strings to keep a similar pattern going. And by moving through the scale with different patterns like that, you get those really cool neoclassical sounding workouts, very practical. And they further help with developing your upstroke movement, because you now have to jump between the strings in really challenging ways. Then for step number 4, I wanted to push the tempo. Now you're not going to be able to play shred phrases with upstrokes only. At least I can't do that. You will need a combination of downstrokes and upstrokes in order to do that. But by working with 8th note triplets instead of 8th notes, while still keeping that string skipping movement going, I could really feel that I was reaching the next level with my upstroke movement and that it started matching the downstroke movement much more. So once again, I took an exercise approach like I just showed you for the string skipping, but I repeated the lower notes so that I end up with high note, low note, low note, high note, low note, low note, which is a great pattern for triplets. And you can really feel those repeated upstrokes on the lower strings. That's, pretty challenging to do at first, but I feel like that was one of the key exercises that really pushed my speed. And of course, I also moved this one to different places in the scale. So when I move my pinky finger down 1 fret, I was matching that with my other fingers on the lower strings. Really great workout for your picking. But the final challenge I set myself was playing scales with upstrokes only, just to see if I can match the speed when it comes to my downstrokes. So I would pick a 3-note per string scale, just like this C major scale, starting on the 8th fret. And I started slowly, trying to play a scale pattern like this with only upstrokes, and I can really feel that now, because it's quite tricky to play 3 of those on just 1 string and just moving through the scale like this. Then I moved it down. Just like this. So this is the most challenging step for sure, but it will really push your upstrokes to a new level. And right at this point, when I showed you all these exercises, my wrist feels super loose and it's very easy to play stuff like this. And I'm barely using any distortion right here. So you can see and hear how clean these results actually are, simply because I'm perfectly in control of my upstroke movement. So you know what to do next, my friend. You will click the link down below, patreon.com/bernd, because right there you can download the full upstroke mastery workout package. I made it as easy as it gets for you. You just have to follow this step-by-step blueprint. After downloading all of the awesome files I made just for you, it will be very easy to incorporate this in your daily practice routine. And this is the key missing ingredient that you've been looking for all this time. As soon as your upstrokes finally match your downstrokes, nothing will be able to stop you when it comes to alternate picking. That's the level of freedom that I want for you when it comes to your picking techniques. So let's finally get to work. Click the link down below. I'm waiting for you over there.